But let's talk about what the game we're going to be watching. Indiana at Iowa. We've talked about it, but to really break it down, Indiana. I think Indiana is better on both sides of the ball than Iowa. They're definitely better than they were and than Indiana was last year on both sides of the ball. But I think they're a little bit better defensively, and that's saying something because Iowa has a tremendous defense. They haven't given up more than 25 points in was it 21 or 22 games.
22 games.
Great secondary. Indiana has added depth and talent to their the difference has been guys like Ryder Anderson that has transferred in from Ole Miss. The couple transfers they've gotten that has just really stiffened that defense. And they're good. They're good from front to back, and that is to me the difference. It's not huge, but there's a difference. And offensively, Petrus is. I think he's a good game manager, but he is not the dynamic quarterback but that Michael Penix can be and is, and he's completely healthy at the moment. So Indiana's got to find a way to integrate. I was talking with Zach, more options into their offense. They were pretty prolific as an offense, but the running game was a compliment at best, and Ty Freifogel and Wap Villier were the two big targets. So I think they need to expand their options a little bit, and I think the running game has got to show up. But I think that's going to be different this year with Delon McCullough coming into the fold, and they have Stephen Carr, the USC transfer. So I think that they put the pieces in place to elevate what they needed to elevate, and that's why I think that I would pick Indiana if I was betting to win the game.
Yeah, it's what's the line's 3.5 right now. I think home field's going to be a big deal. Just getting the fans back in Kinnick, I think that's worth something. Probably worth the edge. I'd agree with you in some respects. The big questions for Iowa. Here's the secret sauce for Iowa. It all starts up front on both sides of the line. When Iowa's good up front, when they're able to run the ball and stop the run, they're generally going to win 8, 9, 10 games in a season. That's and that's kind of what they probably would have done last year because they were really good up front with Davion Nixon being defensive player of the year in the conference and Jack Heflin. They had 3 guys last year on their defensive line that are now on NFL rosters. Jack Heflin made the Packers roster. Chauncey Golston and Davion Nixon were both NFL draft picks. So that's what they're missing. It's a lot of young guys on the defensive line. Can they hold up? Can they stop the run? Can they get pressure on Michael Penix? Can they contain him so he doesn't extend plays with his legs? I think that's going to be a huge key to this game. On the offensive side, Kirk Ferentz said that Iowa's probably going to maybe play up to 8 different guys on the offensive line. That's weird for Iowa. It's usually maybe they'll rotate one guy in. But they've got a great center, All-American Tyler Linderbaum. He's the best in the country this year. But they're breaking in 2 new starting tackles. One of their starting guards is out. Kyler Schott is out. Before fall camp started, he was back home on the farm. You'll enjoy this story. He was back on the farm with his family and baling some hay. And he jumped off a 6-foot-high hay bale and broke his foot. So he's only in Iowa would that happen, right? Jumping off a hay bale. But he's done hundreds. I've done it hundreds of thousands of times, and this time the foot breaks. So that's a veteran guard that's out. So probably Justin Britt, the kid from Indiana, is going to start in his place. So that'll be a big deal for him. But if Iowa can run the ball and stop the run, Iowa's probably going to win. If they struggle with either of those 2 things because of the questions that they have on both lines, then Indiana has a real chance to win the game.
Yeah, it's the lines. You're right. Indiana's offensive line, they're back. They're pretty experienced. The depth, you gotta be deep. That's what they have to worry on. But I wonder for Indiana, if they may get an advantage defensively, their defensive line experienced. And like I said, they've added some quality pieces. And if Iowa is running in some inexperienced guys, that may offer in Indiana an opportunity to get to the quarterback. They led the league in sacks last year, and I'm sure that they would like to do the same again this year.
And the other thing is Indiana brings a lot of pressure too, a lot of blitzing. McFadden will come, and that's a concern with an offensive line that's going to be rotating guys in. That's going to be maybe a little inexperienced at tackle. Is that communication and that continuity there that you need on the offensive line? If it's not, then Spencer Petras is going to face a lot of pressure and not be able to complete his throws. Potentially some turnovers. That was the bugaboo last year, early in the year, that I go back to that Northwestern game where he threw 3 interceptions in the second half. And that cost him the game. Iowa was cruising in that game, and then Northwestern ends up coming back to win by 1 point.
That's Spencer Petras. That's another. This is his first season of playing in front of a crowd as well, right?
Yeah. This is he became kind of a lightning rod, right or wrong, last year. To defend Spencer a little bit, he was coming in as the starting. He was going to be the starter last year, regardless. I don't think anybody was going to push him after Nate Stanley graduated. But no spring ball. Iowa didn't even get one spring practice in. He was, the camp, fall camp, if you will, whatever, wasn't anything close to being normal that you would see. And he had been, just because of contact tracing last year, he spent about 30 days quarantined in the summer. So those are 30 days he wasn't even out there available to go throw around or do anything. He was just stuck in his apartment. So those things kind of set him back. And I think, Kirk Ferentz has mentioned that. Other people who know much more about football than I do. I do a podcast with Chuck Long, former Iowa quarterback, and Chuck mentioned that was a huge deal. He said, "Oh boy, it's just all those things." And he got better at the end of the year. He was, completing 60+% of his passes. He had 6 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 3 games. So he did develop. Now it's taken that next step. He started working with a quarterback coach from New Jersey. Went to see him twice. He thinks that helped him. He also was working with a psychologist, kind of trying to relax more as a quarterback. And that was kind of his issue. I think he was running a little tight with the throws, and everybody says he's relaxed now. And if he's good, then, I think Iowa's offense can really be good. Tyrone Tracy, an Indiana kid, is going to be his top target. And, I know Tyrone's really fired up about this game. So this will be a big moment for him.
A lot of Indiana kids on that Iowa team playing a role. We got someone asking, can you ask how Deonta Craig is doing?
Yeah, Deonta Craig is doing well. He'll probably be in the rotation at defensive end. He's not going to start, but he's coming along. He's listed as in the 2 deeps now. So I think you'll see him out there a good amount on Saturday, especially in pass rush situations.
I mean, last year you had the transfer from Indiana.
Coy Cronk.
But it's just kind of weird to have those Indiana kids. Who are they? You mentioned that's probably going to play on the offensive line.
Oh, Justin Britt, an Indianapolis kid. They really made a focus of getting Indiana, over the past few years. So, they've made it an emphasis, and a few of those guys are coming along real well.
Yeah, that's been a problem. That's another thing for Indiana. Iowa, Ohio State, Michigan coming in and always grabbing the big guys. And that's something that Indiana has, they had not been able to make a difference at, because why would you before? Why would you not go to Iowa or Michigan or Ohio State? Now they're finally giving kids a reason or an option to stay home and play here as opposed to that. And you've got to be able to do that to build a program. You've got to be able to keep some of these kids and not lose them to the Ohio States or Iowas of the world. But man, I'm looking go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with 100%. You got to control your borders. You got to get your best kids. That's Iowa's battle now with Matt Campbell and the Cyclones is trying to get the best kids in state. And for a lot of years, Iowa State didn't even really recruit the state of Iowa very hard. And now Matt Campbell and company are trying to really do that and match Iowa.